Good afternoon, folks. A month ago, I bought this smartphone on wheels for my wife from resellers. I've gotten so attached to it that it looks like I'll be the one driving it most of the time. During this month, I learned a lot of new things about this car. Today, I want to share them with you and also compare it with Porsche. Unfortunately, no Porsche dealership agreed to put two cars side by side for comparison. So, once again, I'll have to edit the video. It's very interesting. I first say that I want to compare it with the BMW X3. They immediately agree to provide me with the car and give the go-ahead. As soon as I say that it's a Xiaomi YU7, they call somewhere to ask for permission and we get a refusal. So we'll stitch the video together during editing. What else is planned? First, check how accurate the stated battery range figures are. Second, a lot of people have been asking. It's been a while, many new models have come out, and I've been asked to update my car rankings. I think it's the perfect time to do that while I go test the range and share a bunch of interesting things with you. So make yourself comfortable. Grab something tasty to drink, and let's go. At first, during the noise insulation comparison between these cars, I got a bit lazy and didn't drive all the way to the bridge. It wasn't exactly nearby, so I skipped testing the soundproofing in the exact same spot. But I'm going to fix that mistake. This time I'll test both cars in the same place. There are also expansion joints on the bridge, and when you hit them, the decibel levels instantly spike, then drop back down right after. So keep that in mind. Watch how the numbers jump. Let's go. And here's our Macan, a true-blooded German. It's not produced in China. It's imported here directly from Germany. I decided to look into the tires, went to the Porsche website, and selected our Model 4. Take a look at its crazy price tag. Our wheels. Look, Bridgestone Potenza Sport, not run flat. Front 235 by 55, rear 285 by 45. They measure the exterior noise level. Basically, the car passes by a sensor, and that's how they rate it in their own classification system. A is the quietest, B is average, C is the loudest. So the front tires are in section B. The rear ones are in section A, even though it shows 72 here, for a 45 profile that's still classified as A. I checked their website and found the exact same tires that are used on the Xiaomi. And these tires are rated B, meaning they're average in terms of noise. In my opinion, Porsche is being pretty sneaky with its customers, and I'll explain exactly how. They position themselves, their whole company philosophy, as makers of top-tier sports cars. And yes, the suspension tuning is absolutely brilliant. Truly top of the top. But the reality is, 99.9% of Porsche buyers, especially Macan owners, have never even been near a racetrack in their entire lives. They have absolutely no use for its handling strength under extreme loads, none at all. They drive to the office, to the gym, drop their kids off at school, go shopping at the mall. What they really need is sound insulation, because it's there in the Mercedes E-Class, it's there in the BMW 5 Series, and in the BMW X7, which is significantly quieter than the Macan, while costing almost the same. Just think about that. Sound insulation in a car that's bought for daily driving, not for sport? It's one of the most important things in a car. Yes, on the track you don't need it. You need to hear the car, and extra weight just gets in the way. But in the city, it's one of the most important aspects. And that's where the trick is. Because sound insulation isn't just extra cost, it's extra weight, which forces you to add more horsepower, better brakes, and reinforce the suspension, to put in a bigger battery. I've said the same thing about Tesla, and I still do, but I'm not comparing them, because the Macan is both softer and handles better than the Model Y. However, in my opinion, the way they've tricked their customers follows the same principle as Tesla. Here's an example. The BMW 5 Series CS, the most powerful one. They removed the sound insulation, and that makes sense, no questions there. But the regular 5 Series, meant for city driving and everyday use, comes with a soft suspension. It has sound insulation, and a pretty good one too. So overall, a Macan that goes from 0 to 100 in 5 seconds and costs 97,000 euros, given its relatively compact body, should have sound insulation almost like a Rolls-Royce. Maybe some of you don't really care about sound insulation, but for me, in a city car, and I mean specifically a city daily car, it's absolutely critical. If I get into a car like that, and it sounds like a cheap economy car, that's it. No matter how well it drives or what badge it has on the steering wheel, for me, it instantly turns into a cheap junk. We spent 5 minutes filming the intro. It's October 7th, 36 degrees, and in those 5 minutes, I felt like I ran 10 laps around a stadium. We parked in the shade, and this is exactly why you need the zero-gravity seat mode. So you can actually relax for 15 minutes if you need.
安全。
大概做一按摩。
座椅按摩打。
The massage is on. 1 glass. No soft closed doors. As for the materials, I'd say I don't really see much of a difference. No complaints. The materials are just as good. And even the bottom is covered, but here it's just bare plastic. The seat here, even in the top configuration, lacks an ottoman and zero gravity, double glazing at the back and at the front. And it's got soft close. All the seats here are made of genuine Nappa leather. The front seats have massage ventilation and heating. The rear seats only have heating. The Macan has the same seat setup, exactly the same. Look at this beauty. Press the button and the hood pops open. Unfortunately, there's no sound insulation here, but there is a compartment. Pretty spacious, no complaints, though you'll have to close it manually. You can open it with a button. Here it is, but it's totally unnecessary. You can just do it like this.
大概前备箱。
前备箱开了，注意安全。
The compartment is slightly bigger and there is sound insulation.
关闭前备箱。下一同学，
我在。
关闭前备箱。
She always needs to be called again.
下一同学，大概后备箱。
后备箱开了，注意安全。
下一同学，
在。
大概车窗。
4个车窗都搞定了。
下一同学，
在。
大概车门。
车门开了。
She slightly opened it. If it were an automatic door, she would have opened it for me completely. Voice commands don't work if there's even one person inside the car, meaning no one from outside can come up and open anything while someone's inside. Next, even if the car is empty, it won't recognize any voice except yours. Why? Because for the voice assistant to work from outside, you basically have to go through a full verification process first. It asks you to repeat the commands. You repeat them. If you don't say them clearly enough, it asks you again. Once it catches your voice properly, and that's it. You've passed the test, and you can now use the external voice assistant. No, guys, I messed up. I just realized you can give one long command.
下一同学，大概前备箱、后备箱。
全都操作了。
You can do it that way too. Classic Porsche design. By the way, we're not discussing design today. That's a matter of taste. The only thing I'll say is that I don't like those big sticking out screens like in the Xiaomi or Tesla. But I don't like small screens either. Because, you know, no matter what I say about those big ones, my eyes have already gotten used to them. You get used to seeing a big map, a clear 360 camera view. And here, it just feels too small. You know what I really like about the dashboard design, considering it has those big screens? I love it when the screens are built in, not sticking out. Like in Mercedes EQS. Big screens and they're built in, perfect, no complaints. But here, it's just too small. I don't like it. The map's tiny and really, everything looks small. You can get a head-up display as an option, but it's an old-school one. You can't open the full map there like in the new Chinese cars, where you get a big navigation view. It only shows directions and arrows. Moving on to the materials. Look, everything up here is quite good. Really good. It's nice here, right? But here it's just bare plastic. It's all bare plastic here. Down below, this whole section, just plain plastic. How? Seriously, how? Even the center part here, plastic too. In a car that costs this much? Come on, that's cheap. That's straight up budget stuff. No, seriously, how is this acceptable? Let's check here. Just a rock. Perfect. Rock. What about here? There was a little squeak. I hate these screens in the center, but do you know why I forgive this car for it? Because I really like everything else. This screen here, you've probably heard it from everyone. It's just insane. How they came up with this recessed dashboard design and that visual effect, it's out of this world. I like everything except for this screen. I like the steering wheel. This compartment is made of plastic. A wireless charging spot for one phone. I see it's working. It doesn't have ventilation. They didn't lay any Alcantara there. Just rubber. Yes, just rubber. This is the volume. This is all plastic too. All these buttons are physical. Right here, you've got 2 cup holders and a little compartment back there. Wireless charging, a question of functionality. For the city, for everyday driving, I need it right here, so I can see when notifications pop up, read them, and see who's texting me. And it's about time they started thinking about the passengers. People ride with you. There should be 2 spots, not just one hidden away in that pocket where you're constantly scratching it against the plastic. At least here it's wrapped in Alcantara. Over there it's just rubber. There's simply more money here, that's all. They skimped again over there. Okay, you've seen these buttons. You can stick them on magnetic mounts. There are spots all over the car, and assign different commands to them. But I had no idea you could assign such complex sequences. For example, multiple commands fired at once with a single press. That's just insane. By the way, this is what the menu looks like. We'll come back to the buttons in a bit. Look, I have different scents here. And you can also add various other devices. All the little gimmicks they sell. All right, not about that. Look, here are the buttons. Open the button menu. You can program such a long, complex command that when you press it, a whole sequence of actions runs at once. For example, zero gravity seat, massage on, seat ventilation on, dim the panoramic roof glass, and play a specific playlist, like meditation or chill music, all with a single press. The button has 2 presses. Quickly pressed and held. By pressing quickly, you might turn something on, yes, and by holding it, turn it off. And the most interesting thing is that in my account, these buttons execute my commands. In fact, all the buttons will execute my commands. In my wife's account, they execute my wife's commands. The buttons can be right here, or right here. You can assign a total of 16 buttons. So that's 16 commands, and each one can run multiple actions. Basically, your account doesn't just set steering wheel reach, seat memory, and what those buttons do. Everything is tied to your account. Everything. Climate settings, default temperature, fan strength, and even the screen layouts. They also have various widgets that are immediately activated specifically for your account. This is where the Face ID is. So if, say, your spouse was driving and their account was active, you don't have to reach over and press a button to switch to yours. Even if there are 5 accounts saved, you can register your face in the settings. You just sit down, and it instantly recognizes your face and immediately activates all your settings, including all the buttons, ambient lighting, climate control, widgets, immediately your Apple CarPlay, everything completely. It's great that Xiaomi reached an agreement with Apple, found some collaboration, and all Apple gadgets connect seamlessly to the Xiaomi system. Look how nicely CarPlay shows up on the left side of the main screen. You're driving, and it feels like having your phone right at hand. This car, just like Tesla and many other Chinese brands, has a security mode. Anyone who comes close to the car, it instantly starts recording video. And now get ready. The electric Macan doesn't have such a mode. Why don't the gas ones have it? We know. The small battery just can't handle it. It would die instantly. You need a lot of power for all that to work. The cameras, the recording, the sensors, all of it. It's clear that internal combustion engines are outdated forever. The electric one you've already built. It's a brand new platform. There is no software now. That is, there is already a battery that could power all of this. It can stay in guard mode for a whole week without any problem, but there's no software for it. They went further. Look at what they have done. Now, if the guard mode is triggered, someone gets close to the car, you'll get a notification on your phone, and you can even talk to that person through the car's external speaker using your smartphone. For example, right now my wife will say something. You hear that, right? You can view the cameras in real time, from the side, from the back. We've seen this for a long time. Nothing special. You can honk, and you can press this button and speak. So, if someone is misbehaving, you just tell them, "I'll come down and give you a thrashing." Covered with fabric. The glove box here opens through the tablet, either by voice command, or if you want, you can bind it to a magnetic button. You can set a password on it. Why does the Macan still have a metal key for the glove box in 2025? Can someone please explain that to me? Under the center console. Look, it's lined with Alcantara. They didn't skimp. And see, there's something interesting on the magnet. It's a glasses case. It doesn't necessarily have to be there. Look, I can put it up here instead of buttons.
Bum.
For the passengers in the back, there can also be their own glasses case right here. Or it can also be here on a magnet. Here's an armrest like this. There's absolutely nothing there, but they covered it. There's no speaker in the headrest, and I just can't do without it anymore. Once you've tried it, you start to feel that something's off without it. Because when I talk on the phone, it gives me sound here. The little one watching something on the tablet, even if it's loud. I can still hear the person I'm talking to perfectly. It doesn't bother me that there's some noise back there because I hear clearly here. And I'm not disturbing anyone else, you know? Same thing with the map. The navigation voice gives directions only to you. Meanwhile, everyone else can just watch their own gadgets. That's a must-have in 2025. Porsche didn't include it. They just saved money on it, that's all. The screen interface is typical VW style. Like a Tamagotchi, nothing special. Everything is like in 1997. The ceiling is ordinary fabric. For this price, it should be crocodile leather, or at least, at the very least, some Alcantara. They fooled us with the price again here. It's bare plastic. Look, there's a sunroof. But Xiaomi doesn't have one. There's a sunshade. Xiaomi doesn't have one, but the ceiling here is Alcantara. There's no sunshade here. They implemented a glass dimming feature, a strong dimming, and it's so dark that, look, the sun is just a tiny dot, like a light bulb. You don't need a sunshade at all here. We've been driving in this heat, and there's absolutely no problem.
小爱同学，
我在。
打开节目。
The only thing is, it doesn't do it right away. You have to wait a bit. This is the clearest setting, and I waited about a minute. Imagine, it's not fast. Like this, it's not very pleasant right under the sun. This way, it'll start heating up. I'll show you the ambient lighting. Here it is in breeze mode. You can have it just stay on all the time. This is how it looks like. It's empty here, but there are 2 charging ports. It's all bare plastic, of course. There's no refrigerator here. This is bare plastic. Here is bare plastic. And the pathetic armrest. It is impossible to adjust the backrest angle. I just don't get how they can be this brazen and shameless. How could they not even put sockets here in 2025? I mean, for the tablets? Okay, fine. You don't give tablets, right? But at least give power sockets. Run some electricity here. At least put a USB-C port so I can plug in my own tablet and mount it with a short cable. How could they be so damn stingy? It costs next to nothing. The materials are on a completely different level. Plastic is only at the very bottom. Everything here is covered. Everything here is covered. There is a fridge. There's a storage compartment here, you know. The armrest may be simple, but it's big, with cup holders and a spot to toss your phone. And here, they covered it with Alcantara, and I can pretty much lie down. This car deserves a medal for that. You can literally sleep in the back here. It's not just sockets here, they even wired in electricity. Look at this. See? Because it's all about money, they just cut costs there. By the way, with this car, you can connect not just their tablet. Look, this is a regular iPad, an Apple one. And you can install a program here. I have it installed here. It's called Xiaomi, where I control the climate control, where I control the music, where I control the seat, and probably no, I don't see the map here. So, it also connects to the system, just through the app, via the internet. The car provides Wi-Fi. All gadgets can connect to the hotspot. There's a built-in smartphone you can take in your hand and control the car with. If you're boxed in so tight you can't even open the door, you can not only drive straight out, you can also swing it right or left. Let's go, say, to the right. Look how amazingly the seats fold in a 100K car. Just wow. 1, 2. Rubber mat. There's a small niche. A small one. You can press the button, but I don't want to get my hands dirty.
下一位同学，大概后备箱。
后备箱开了，注意安全。
You don't need to fold the seat backs by hand, there are buttons. Just press, and they slide down automatically. There are hooks, and there's also 12 volts here. The niche is bigger here than there, and this is a matter of the platform, and that's considering there are also 47,000 Newton meters per degree here. Look what I want to buy here. I'm assigning one of the buttons for myself. And I'm programming the command to fold second row of seats. Fold down the backrests to create a flat floor. Here, I buy a special mattress that attaches to the seat back with Velcro. Here it folds, kind of like a folding one. And the rest of it is shaped to match the car's contours, so the mattress stays perfectly flat. So it turns out that I pressed a button, and a bed appeared behind me. A full-sized, soft one. You take off your shoes, climb in the back, and just relax. I always try to call things as they are, as objectively as possible. And for the suspension tuning in the Macan, it truly deserves a gold medal. Top of the tops. I believe this is flawless work by the engineers. The Xiaomi has a longer wheelbase, making it slightly softer than the Macan. However, the Macan handles better. I prefer the steering of the Macan. It can be adjusted to be tighter in the settings. Xiaomi's is too soft, even in sport mode. At speeds over 200, the Macan is likely to be more stable. The recuperation is stronger in Xiaomi, making it more convenient to drive with one pedal. The torsional rigidity of the Xiaomi body is higher, 47,000 Newton meters per degree compared to 30,000 here. As I mentioned in the first review, The suspension setup of the Xiaomi is closer to the Cayenne. It feels a class above the Macan, more comfortable. Our test vehicle is the Macan 4. The price in Germany is 97,000 euros at the top trim. From there, it is imported into China. The gasoline Macan has been discontinued. It's now electric. What do we have? Air suspension, all-wheel drive, 2 electric motors, 400 horsepower, 5-second acceleration, a 100 kilowatt-hour battery, 650 kilometers on a single charge. There is a more powerful version, the Macan Turbo. Why they decided to call it turbo in an electric car, I don't understand. Anyway, 639 horsepower, acceleration 3.3. The price of this version with all the extras is, attention, 154,000 euros. The Xiaomi YU7 Max, after the discounts on some options ended, went up in price, and now it costs about the same as the Li 9. $56,000. That is, exactly 3 times cheaper than Macan Turbo. It does 0 to 100 in 3.2 seconds, about 680 horsepower, and the battery's also 100 kilowatt hours. And I have a question. Why the hell does the Macan Turbo cost 3 times more and the Macan 4 twice as much? If it's a class below, with both interiors looking like ancient budget boxes, and on top of that, Porsche has already lost to a stock Xiaomi on the Nürburgring for the second time. Because of this incident, Porsche found themselves in a very unpleasant situation, in my opinion. It's hard to even imagine what could be worse for a company than being humiliated like that by a car brand that's barely a year old. Especially one that offers so much more car for so much less money. Porsche's stock has dropped, sales in China have almost halved, and the losses are colossal. Why such problems and such a collapse in sales? Because they couldn't hide behind their history and status this time. Because Xiaomi is not a startup like gilevich.eng, for example. For those who haven't been following this topic for a while, Xiaomi is already a huge tech giant. I don't even follow this company. I just read about it and was honestly surprised myself. 3rd place in the world for smartphone sales. 1st place in the world for fitness band sales. 5th place for televisions and home appliances. In terms of market capitalization, the entire Xiaomi brand is already wealthier than Porsche. Moreover, when you buy an official YU7, you get an 8-year warranty on the entire vehicle. And the official Macan only comes with a 4-year warranty. In general, unless Porsche comes up with some technological miracle, things will get worse and worse for them. Because it's not car brands competing today, it's the economies of China and Germany. Do you remember the comments about Chinese kilometers? And now watch this. On a single charge, this car travels 740 kilometers. My battery isn't fully charged, so remember this number. That means I have 718 kilometers left to go. I planned a route that takes 20 minutes, which is roughly 20 kilometers. And I'll arrive at 11:47. It is now 11:27. The measurement is done as follows. I drive at the permitted speed, approximately 80 kilometers per hour, while overtaking the flow whenever possible. Those who are not interested in hearing a personal ranking for October 2025 can skip almost to the end and check out the results of the Chinese kilometers. I chose this format because there's a lot of misinformation about Chinese kilometers. It's 32 degrees outside, the car's climate control is set to 24 degrees, and the seat ventilation is on low. Let's go. Rating. There are a lot of new cars on the market. I don't evaluate the design at all, only how it drives and what you get for its price. I can't do it more than once a year because I spend an entire week on test drives to refresh everything in my mind. Let's start with the small sedan and liftback. If electric, the Avatar 06 is cheaper, while the Neo ET5 are more expensive. If liftback, if we talk about gasoline cars, as a budget choice, I'd take the BYD Chin L, a bit pricier, the new Lincoln Co. 07, or the BMW 3 Series. A mid-sized sedan or liftback, pure electric. It's still either the Xiaomi SU7 or new German-Chinese the Audi E5, which is without rings. Gasoline. I haven't seen anything better than the Audi A7 Long, but a cheaper option would be the Lynk & Co. Z10 Hybrid. By the way, I should probably do a review on it. Moving on. A large sedan. Electric. If you want to spend more, then definitely the Neo ET9. Because this car is amazing both to drive and to be driven in. If you ride only in the back, then you could consider the Huawei Maestro. Up front, it's a bit loud for its price. If cheaper, Denza Z9. Gasoline. Again, there's the Denza Z9, but in hybrid, it'll be cheaper. And then Yangwang U7, more expensive. Small electric crossover, cheaper, Zeekr 001, more expensive, new Neo ES6. Gasoline, the new BMW X3, total nonsense, forget it. Instead, I would get the Avatar 07 Hybrid. If you want something cheaper, then Geely Starship 7. A mid-sized crossover, electric, the Xiaomi YU7, either in the base trim or in the top trim, and nothing else. It beats even the cars that cost more than it. If it's gasoline, I'd go with the new Huawei M7 Hybrid. But if you can spend more, get the BMW X5, a big crossover. That's probably the most interesting for everyone. I haven't tested the Zeekr 9X yet, but as soon as they let me drive it longer than 20 minutes, I'll grab it and make a video. I think it'll be on the channel in about a week. Electric. Cheaper option, the Onvo L90. More expensive, Neo ES8. Gasoline. Maybe that Zeekr 9X, or still the Huawei M9. Or if you go even more expensive, a pure gas BMW X7. If you want something cheaper than the Huawei M9, go for the Denza N9. SUV, Leopard 5, cheaper. Tank 700, more expensive. Yanwan U8, even more expensive. Very fast cars, on the cheaper end. Xiaomi SU7 Ultra, more expensive. Yangwang U9. Well, we've arrived. 253 meters left. Got here earlier at 11:45, with 698 kilometers of range remaining.